Riffs are too repetitive, the lyrics make no sense. All the songs are B-sides and the cover art's a mess. There's so much here to tear apart. Listen to it for a week, now that week has passed. It's Why I Hate This Album podcast with Tim and Garrett.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Why I Hate This Album. I am one of your hosts, Garrett Harvey. With me, as always, co-host extraordinaire, Olivia Newton-John, Tim, my John Travolta. Tim, you're the one that I want. How are you doing, co-host extraordinaire, Timothy Richardson?
I am really pissed off, Garrett.
I knew you would be. I knew you would be. Please, share with the listeners, Tim, what's got your hackles up?
Well, you and I like to do terrible things. We like to intentionally do things that we hate. But the key, yes, Garrett, is that we do them together. We read a bunch of Dan Brown books to see which one of us would crack first. We drank clam juice, which was really just seawater with chunks of raw clam floating in it. It's not for drinking, it's for cooking. You went too far this week, Garrett. You challenged me to a Big Bang Theory marathon. Who could finish the series first? I am on season 7.
You're winning.
I am winning by 7 seasons, you son of a bitch. I am beginning to think this was a ploy to keep me busy all week so you could get some work done. Which,
heavens no.
Honestly,
Heavens
I preferred it to that time you drugged me, rolled me up in a carpet, and hid me in a wall. But I am still furious, Garrett. Son of a bitch.
Tim, you should take pride in how much you have beaten me at this challenge.
Oh, I'm gonna finish.
Of course, you gotta. I could catch up.
Yeah, I don't know that you will, but all right.
Season 1, episode 3, just around the corner.
Yeah, around the corner after you watch those first 2 episodes, you son of a bitch.
I watched some of the first one. I definitely made it to the intro. Oh, yeah. I gotta say, I don't know how it took me this long to figure out that little shortcut. And I will be using it again. I have zero concern whatsoever that this will in any way serve as precedent to halt you from accepting the challenge. Because on the off chance that it's not a goof, and I do in fact win, you can't stand that.
I can't stand that. Honestly, I should have realized something was up when I started my new catchphrase Bazinga this week, and you didn't seem to know what that meant.
No idea. Still remains unclear. Please don't tell me.
It's a pretty good show.
Oh, boy. Stockholm Syndrome. Doesn't take long.
It took long.
Oh, when not watching the acting chops of Mr. Johnny Galecki, what song have we been listening to for an entire week straight?
Oh, we have been listening to the misguided nonsense that is Chet Hanx, that's Hanx with an X, his 2021 hit single, White Boy Summer, his response to Hot Girl Summer by Megan Thee Stallion.
Oh, and Tim, after an entire week with Chet Hanx with an X, do you hate this song?
Oh, yes. Yes, I do, Garrett. I hate this song. What about you, friend? Did you get there already?
Well, after a lot of consideration and probably too many listens, to be fair, I'm going to go ahead and begin this episode by saying yes. Yes,
excellent.
I do. It's very bad. Misguided is generous. That's the word.
Well, I have this theory that he did this to make his dad smile.
Okay.
Well, I have 2 theories. One, yes, essentially, it was, he wanted to give his dad a little pep in his step after he got that whole COVID thing.
Right.
Well, I've got another theory, but I'm going to save it for possibly just before we answer, do we hate it again?
Wow, I like that. Really got to break it down before you can put forward your thesis. Fantastic. Before we do, Tim, I am curious, prior to this week, is this the first time you've spent even a moment listening to Mr. Hanx? Or are you secretly very familiar with Chet's work?
Well, so not familiar at all with his work. I was unaware that this song existed. I don't know how to say this. I was friends with this guy for about 6 years.
What? That's too many years.
Well, he wasn't making music then, so I didn't know. But yeah, in the mid 2000s, like right after I graduated from college to about 2012, 2013, yeah. I'm going to leave that out of the history. But yeah, I mean, I was very familiar with this guy. Never once introduced me to his brother, which is A little shitty. Or his dad.
I was
going to
say, that's not really the Hanx you're looking for.
Doesn't matter. The point is I was friends with him.
I'd settle for Rita Wilson.
Yeah. Garrett Harvey, in conversation, I would settle for Rita Wilson.
I stand by it.
No context needed.
None needed.
Yes. I mean, honestly, I was pretty excited because I was hoping for some sort of Thomas or at least Rita cameo or a collabo even with this one. But yeah, this was just disappointing. Yeah. What about you, friend? Is this the first time Steve, the guy that suggested this to us, forced this upon us, really, has forced something upon you?
Sadly, this is not my first dalliance with Chester. I can't claim any credit. I was made aware of this by the comedian Tom Segura when the song came out and became mildly fascinated with Chet Hanx. So I knew he was a rapist. I knew this song existed. Did I know what was in it? Absolutely not. Was I excited? You betcha. Am I a little disappointed after the fact? Magnificently so. It's a very disappointing song. Now, I wasn't expecting any sort of T. Hanx crossover. God, wouldn't it have been weird if Colin Hanks had like a super aggressive solo rap in here?
That would, I mean, okay, or just him speaking in his weird, normal speaking voice. Just a monologue in here.
It's weird that Tom Hanks has one son that was born in Compton and one son that was born in the Midwest. Because I swear Colin Hanks gives me like the most like Minnesota energy.
Oh yeah, he's perfect for Fargo. Or Lucky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. New season coming out soon. Should be way better than that dreadful Chris Rock season.
Never watched it, but I plan on it.
Me either.
Oh.
I wouldn't. Everybody I spoke to was just like, honestly, man, Chris Rock just cannot act, and it is distracting.
Also, I feel like his face is, he's gotten something done, and he won't admit to what it is.
He looks like a puppet.
Yeah, like a marionette doll.
I believe there are strings inside his face connecting, like, his eyes to the corners of his mouth.
Oh, there are strings in all of our faces connecting eyes to mouths, Garrett. Anatomy.
They're not strings, though, to be clear.
They're string-like.
Sure, that's as close as I'm going to allow. We're getting off topic. Before we talk about the song itself, and folks, I mean, we're going to really lay into this. It's bad. But before we can do that, we need to understand a little bit about the man who made it. So Tim, take us on a journey. Help us understand what happened to Chet Hanx. Where did it all go wrong? And how did White Boy Summer ever seem like a good idea to him?
Well, Garrett, this story begins on July 9th, 1956, with the birth of Thomas Hussein Hanx, who would go on to change his name to Thomas Jeffrey Hanks, presumably to associate himself more with Thomas Jefferson and less with that other guy. T. Hanks.
Barack Obama.
Right. T. Hanks was from California. His parents divorced when he was about 4, and his older brother and sister lived with his dad. His younger brother lived with his mom, who...
I couldn't help but notice you're talking about Tom Hanks.
I am, yes. You wanted me to get to the bottom of this.
Okay, as long as you say it's germane, I'm going to allow it. I'm going to allow it.
As a child, T. Hanks was super evangelical, and everyone hated him. He said, I was a geek, a spaz. I was horribly, painfully, terribly shy. At the same time, I was the guy who'd yell out funny captions during film strips, but I didn't get into trouble. I was always a real good kid and pretty responsible. Not a single person liked him. He was in some school plays and then studied theater at Shabbat College and Cal State Sacramento, go Sackies. He was then an unpaid intern at the Great Lakes Theater Festival in Cleveland, Ohio for 3 years, where he learned all aspects of production and dropped out of college. Now, Garrett, this concerns me because what if we're sitting on a T. Hanks intern, right? Nobody likes any of these interns. They're very evangelical. They're constantly shouting things at film strips. But, I mean, again, T. Hanks was awful as a youngster. Maybe we should force them to sign lifelong deals pledging at minimum 10% of all future earnings to this show, and maybe have a clause where they have to work in plugs for this very show into all future products.
I like that. Let's maybe take it up a notch and make the holding company of which this podcast is a subsidiary. And that's, folks, I know you think it's bits, but we just can't say it enough. You are in the no-bit zone. That is 100% a true statement. I think, Tim, we make that holding company an executive producer on all future intern productions so that we're getting our beaks wet no matter what they do.
Absolutely. And now imagine how big the show would be if at the end of the second act, Forrest Gump turns to face the camera and just says, after the film, be sure to check out the podcast Why I Hate This Album. Coming to an iPhone near you exactly 23 years and 7 months from this very day. All glory to Tim and a lesser extent Garrett.
We're going to work on the messaging, but I like your thinking.
Excellent.
Maybe find a more organic way to work it in.
No, I think because you really want people, you want people to know, stop doing what you're doing, go do that other thing.
Interesting. Okay, so just before Tom Hanks lands that plane in the Hudson.
Oh, we will get to Sully.
Will we?
Yes. Yes, we will.
In our Chet Hanks history, we're going to get to Sully. Okay, yes. Fantastic. Build the bridge. You know what? I should not interrupt any further. I feel like this is going to take some time if Sully's in your notes. Okay, please go right ahead.
Anywho, Garrett, T. Hanks moved to the Big Apple in 1979 and starred in some garbage. Then he was in the excellent television program Bosom Buddies, discussed on a previous episode of this very show. Find the episode. He guested on a bunch of other shows, was in Bachelor Party, The Money Pit, and then signed basically his entire life over to Walt Disney. He was then in Dragnet and Big, followed by Joe versus the Volcano, and one of my favorites, Turner and Hooch. In 1992, he was in A League of Their Own. In 93, he was in Sleepless in Seattle and Philadelphia, for which he won an Oscar. He then got another Oscar the next year for playing a simpleton in Forrest Gump, then provided propaganda for NASA in Apollo 13, before bringing attention to the plight of the modern cowboy in the modern world in Toy Story. He was in some other stuff, Saving Private Ryan, You've Got Mail, Castaway, The Lady Killers, some other stuff before his career-defining role as, you guessed it, Dr. Robert Langdon, Harvard symbologist, turtleneck aficionado, eidetic memory haver, and lifelong bachelor in 2006's The Da Vinci Code, 2009's Angel and Demons, and 2016's Inferno. That's right, they kept making them.
Did they really?
Yes, they did.
Hold on. One, you did not mention his really weird hair in that first one. And that you and I read all those books.
Yeah, I mentioned that in the intro, you fuck.
I heard that. I just want to call out that, just again, I did in fact hear you this time when you talked about the challenges, because again, you watched almost all of Big Bang Theory. Fantastic. And I have yet to see beyond the opening title of the first episode. But just want to reiterate, we read all those books. They're so bad. America, why did you read Dan Brown? They're for babies.
Tom Hanks gave himself diabetes, likely from massive weight gain and loss for various film roles. He appeared on Broadway and was published in The Big Appler. He played noted hero Chesley Sully Sullenberger. Garrett, did you know his name was Chesley?
I did.
Oh, this was news to me. I've just been calling him Hero Sully. He was also noted anti-hero David S. Pumpkins. That was in 2016 and 2017, respectively.
Which is its own thing.
In 2020, Garrett, he and his wife got COVID, but they recovered nicely thanks to what Gino has spent way too much time doing Reddit research on and insisted on putting in our notes, drinking adrenochrome. I'm sorry. I know. Listen, I know it's bullshit.
Yeah. It was bed rest and fluids at that point.
Right. The fluids, of course, being adrenochrome. Not sure how accurate that is, but it is in the notes.
Not
anyway, T. Hanks has kids, Garrett. He was married to Samantha Lewis for a decade in the late 70s to 80s, who is the good son, Colin Lewes. Is it Lewes? It's Lewes. It's not. It's Lewes. Anyway, Colin Hanks' mother. Colin was born in 77. He did good work in Fargo, Lucky, and the Jumanji film series. Also, Numbers, Garrett's favorite show. Everything is Numbers. Bazinga.
Everything is Numbers.
T. Hanks met Rita Wilson on a set of Bosom Buddies, and they would eventually reconnect and get married in 1988. In 1990, they had Chet. Chester Marlon Hussein Hanks, a.k.a. Chet Hayes, a.k.a. Chet Hanks, a.k.a. Suckballs. That's Hanks with an X, Suckballs with a Z.
Good stuff.
Chet grew up in Brentwood. T. Hanks, being the loving father he of course was, tried to teach him to be semi-normal, giving him a middle-class life in the midst of the richest possible environment. Of course, this is not going to work.
Right.
His dad gave him a PT Cruiser, the worst car, for his birthday, and would make him wash his car for money to go out to dinner. Of course, this does not work. He was always a bit of a problem child, or possibly had some sort of undisclosed severe mental illness. It is possible he was driven insane at an early age by everyone he knew talking only to him with bad Forrest Gump impressions. But he got sent to some sort of wilderness scared straight program for troubled youths in high school, sometimes described as wilderness therapy. I like to think of it as some sort of he'll be less of a jackass if a bear eats one of his arms kind of program.
I like to think of it as a wall-less jail for children.
Yes. He also played lacrosse, as all good people did in high school, at the Oakley School in Utah, a therapeutic boarding school for kids with mental health problems, or kids that need a structure that a T. Hanx simply can't provide. The Oakley School in Utah no longer exists.
Yeah. I don't want to get sued, but I don't know if you've ever done any research into the troubled teens industry.
Oh yeah, they keep those teens troubled intentionally.
Yeah, and they do a lot of stuff that might make you like a lot more trouble. Please continue.
From there, Garrett, he got into Northwestern University because of course he did. He discovered his love of being a rapist at this time with a parody of Wiz Khalifa's Black and Yellow, which he turned into White and Purple, the Northwestern colors, because, Garrett, he really loved his school. There was, of course, some controversy about the school giving him and other celebrity children special treatment. He was interviewed and talked about living in the shadow of T. Hanx, saying, "It's like this, man. Let's say hypothetically that I came up with this is all in a Jamaican accent. I apologize. It's like this, man. Let's say hypothetically I came up with the cure for cancer. Here's what it would say in my obituary. Chet Hanx, son of Tom Hanks, came up with a cure for cancer. Zinga, Garrett."
He maybe picked like the worst possible example.
But it's actually true.
I don't know. Cure for cancer might lead.
Tom Hanks.
Yeah, listen, which one's more important to me right now? T. Hanx.
Yeah, but which one's more important to you in, let's say, 6 months?
That is way sooner than I was expecting that joke to be.
He had some very minor success with acting that was clearly due to his dad just putting him in things. He went to rehab for not the last time after college. He started a pop country band that I could get very few details on, but stay tuned, listener. And then he had a little issue in 2015 when he posted a video on Instagram saying that he, specifically, was allowed to drop the proverbial N-bomb. He also damaged a British hotel room and was briefly wanted by the British authorities for that. That was mostly the fault of cocaine, though. He was also in Fan Forstic that same year. You ever see that Fan Forstic film?
Well, I don't understand what you're saying.
Fan Forstic? Yes, the Fantastic Four movie, but it's Fan Forstic. I don't know if you've ever seen the promotional materials. It's Fan Forstic.
I have not. Is it the first one?
No, it's the most recent one.
Fan Forstic. Is that the Rise of the Silver Surfer?
No, it's the most recent one. Fan Forstic. It's the one with that guy from Whiplash. You know, he has the mustache in that Tom Cruise movie. Yeah, Fan Forstic.
Oh, does he play the Rock Man?
So the Miles Teller plays Mr. Fantastic, and I believe that Chet Hanx, Chester, if you will, plays his like older brother that's in it for a scene. Something like that.
I got it.
He might play the Rock Man's older brother. It doesn't matter.
I saw him in Shameless.
Oh, yeah. So getting to that, he had a kid with his girlfriend in 2016, then was on Shameless, which is a show I tried. I think it's probably a good show. I just can't. It makes me too sad.
It's a great show about people having nothing but bad luck and poor decision making. I got plenty of both in my life. I do not need to escape to that world.
Absolutely. He was also on Empire and then Greyhound with T. Hanx. In 2020 at the Cecil B. DeMille Awards, which his father was receiving the, I believe, Lifetime Achievement Award, he came onto the red carpet and insisted on only speaking in a Jamaican accent.
Dude, did you see that?
I did, yes. I watched it twice. It's baffling.
Okay, I'm going to say something controversial followed by something very not controversial. We'll begin controversially.
Pretty good accent.
No. Here's the thing. If I do a Scottish accent or an Irish accent, nobody cares. If I do a Jamaican accent, it's not okay. If all three are good accents, I think you should be allowed to do them.
Here's the thing. Do an accent of a very specific Jamaican man. You're doing that guy. Not, you can't like, if you were to do I don't know, let's say Idris Elba voice.
Okay.
As opposed to let's say Tracy Morgan voice.
Oh.
Right. You see, because one of those is insulting to all black people.
And so Tracy Morgan's insanely tricky because what you just said is accurate. Because part of Tracy Morgan's comedy is to say very purposely ignorant things. And it took me a really long time to learn that. But what's really frustrating and makes me sad is I spent time, because, well, if you've listened to the show, I like to do a voice now and again. I spent time learning how to do a Tracy impression that I can't do for anybody.
Well, here's the thing. Absolutely don't do a Tracy Morgan impression ever. It's just, we'll have to bleep all of it out.
Right.
I think you stick with the thing we did with the Japanese man, where you're a Caucasian American boy whose parents, like,
abandoned him in Japan at age 3.
Or Jamaica, or Scotland, or, mainland
and we're getting
China.
a little far afield. Let's maybe keep it less
Indian.
insane. Yeah, absolutely. That's not where it was insane. The insane part, Tim, is the jumping through hoops. Like, if all 3 are good, I think they should all be allowed.
Well, right. But the guy in fucking today, Garrett.
No. I think we just need to have, like, just a hair of nuance. Anyway, there's the controversial statement. Not that controversial, but mildly. Here's the non-controversial statement. What he's doing is not okay.
Yeah, and it's also partially because he sucks at it.
And that's why I add the qualifier. If they're all good impressions, like, fine. But 1, it's bad. 2, come on, man. Like, you're the whitest dude on the planet.
Yeah, Brentwood.
Who grew up so affluently. Yeah, well, I was going to say famed neighborhood of O.J. Simpson, but that's not why we're here. 1, he's bad at it. 2, who he is makes it even worse. And 3, the setting. Isn't he receiving, like, the Cecil B. DeMille Lifetime Achievement Award? And that's where he's like, I'm going to only talk in a Jamaican accent. That's an okay thing to do.
I think what's happening is that his father is receiving a Lifetime Achievement Award, presumably for his acting in films. And so Chester got there and thought, what's one way that I can show everyone that I, too, am a good actor? And you can't, because you can't do it like a subtle character, because everyone will just be like, I didn't know.
I guess that's him.
Yeah.
He wanted everyone to walk away going, did Tom Hanks have a child that was raised in Jamaica?
Right. And then the next day, he doesn't have the accent, and people are like, shit, pretty good actor.
Acting.
In 2021, his former girlfriend, Kiana Parker, got a restraining order against him for verbal and physical abuse, but also he had sued her in the past for theft, assault, and battery, and there's some TMZ footage to back that up with his face bleeding. I don't really know what the story is, so I'm going to leave it at that. In 2021, also, Chet posted an Instagram video urging people to get COVID-19 vaccines before saying that was just a joke and he was not going to get vaccinated, saying, You ain't sticking me with that motherfucking needle. It's the motherfucking flu. Get over it, okay? Because Chet Hanx scared of needles.
Oh, yeah. Everybody knows that. All pointy things gets really cagey around the edge of a coffee table.
Yes. Even, honestly, paper cuts, not a fan.
Oh, I've never seen somebody cry so much.
Absolutely. That same year, Chet released White Boy Summer, an apparent reaction to Megan Thee Stallion's Hot Girl Summer, which, and I hate to say this, better song. Now, it is unclear what the song is about. We might get into that, but
maybe
the name was pretty immediately co-opted by people, I hesitate to say this, but even worse than Chester, such as noted white nationalist Nick Fuentes, who used it as a slogan and used it to oppose things like Black Lives Matter, because of course he did. Chester also released some merchandise, hoodies, shirts, shorts, bike shorts, hats, tank tops, leggings, etc., that say White Boy Summer on them. Now, unfortunately, the font he chose was almost identical to the Fraktur font. I don't know if you're familiar with this. If you're not, go see the cover of Mein Kampf, where it is prominently used. And it is also prominently used by white nationalist organizations to the current day. That merchandise sold out very quickly, and the website is no longer up.
Bullshit. That website's 100%
Really? Not the one I found.
I perused the white. It's on everything is 40% off.
Oh, well, that's nice.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy you some White Boy Summer merchandise.
Please don't. It's the weirdest stuff.
I'm going to buy your entire wardrobe, and then I'm going to destroy all the clothes you currently have.
Listen, that's a great goof. I can't say it's not a great goof.
You're welcome.
Don't. But the thing about whiteboysummermerch.shop is that's 100% the website. It sells not just clothing. but like real odd clothing and
bike
accessories.
Shorts, leggings.
One-piece women's bathing suit thong that says white boy summer. Mouse pad.
Garrett.
What?
For Instagram.
Oh, God.
Let's both get one of those one pieces and pose for the people. Listener, write in if you would like this to happen. If we get 100 people that rate us 5 stars on
not enough. I thought you were going to
iTunes,
say if we can get 100 people to give us $100, we'll do this.
you got to say in your review that this is what you want. And no people that have already reviewed us. Fuck you. We've got your review. Anyway,
We're going to need...
we'll work out the rules later.
The rules you've set forth are awful. A women's one-piece thong bathing suit is going to take a lot more than 10 likes in our reviews.
Okay, listeners, write in. Suggest what...
I'm telling you, 100 people give us $100, then we'll do it shoulder to shoulder. We'll both do like the look back over the shoulder, because to be clear, there's no backs on those bad boys.
Interesting.
Cheeks.
And there's no way
Cheeked up.
currently for anyone to give us money, correct?
Well, technically, no.
You can find Garrett on the streets of New York City. Excuse me,
just
the Big Apple.
find me.
Yeah. Anyway, Chet did helpfully clarify some white boy summer rules, though, to explain what this is about. Rule number 1, to all my white boys out there, no plaid shirts. Rule number 2, no Sperry topsiders. That's not the type of white boys we're talking about, dog. And no calling girls smoke shows, okay? That term, it's played out, dude. Bazinga. And that one isn't my apparent tick. That was actually part of the quote. He then went on, they've been asking me, Chet, if it's going to be a white boy summer, does that make it a black queen summer for you? And I said, do you know me? Because if you do, then you know that's all year round. Respectfully. He continued. You know what's not white boy summer is having any ill will or prejudice to anyone from a different background, race, walk of life than you. That's the shit we've got to elevate and get rid of. The real vibes is just having nothing but good vibes toward everybody. Now, that's probably in relation to this being immediately co-opted by the white nationalists.
Yeah, it also feels very reminiscent to how you and I often will use "That's So Raven."
Yes, or Bazinga from now on.
I really would prefer it if we didn't do that.
At some point in here, of course, he changed his nom de plume from Chet Hanx to Chet Hanx with an X. And that's lazy, but it also reminds me of our mutual friend, my mutual friend, your reluctant acquaintance. I don't know if you were there our freshman year in college when he got extremely drunk and went around pointing out everybody's faults, or in some cases,
I wasn't there.
Notable faults. Anyway, one girl was from Atlanta, so he went up to her and said, "You're from the ATL. Well, I'm from the ATX." And he made his arms in a cross across his chest. So all week I've been saying Chet Hanx, and by that I of course mean Chet Hanx with an X. And doing that, everyone.
God, I wish I had been there for that.
Yeah, it was great. He would have had a lot to say about you.
Honestly, I would have been excited. Do me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. In 2022, Chet claimed on his YouTube channel that he didn't have a strong role model growing up, which, fuck you, buddy.
God, fuck you, man.
While speaking about the disregard he faced from his peers about being perceived as arrogant, entitled, and spoiled, he said he didn't have a strong role model to tell me, bro, fuck those people. They're just jealous of you. You have all these things they want, so they're just trying to fucking throw you shade so you can feel shitty about yourself because they are jealous. Now, I agree he probably didn't have a role model in his life to say that to him, because that's fucking terrible advice. Right. He's an idiot. This guy, idiot.
Not very bright. Well, to be fair, he did attend school in the woods, so...
Well, he also went to Northwestern University, Garrett.
Oh, that's a good point. God, he graduated, didn't he?
I don't know.
Oh,
don't give a shit. Anyway, Garrett, that's all the history. So to you, I say, bazinga.
Everything is numbers.
Oh, God damn it.
Well, yeah. God, I love that show. Anyway, great history, Tim. I was worried that this would be too much because, quite frankly, you did a really good job of trimming the tree. That is to say, there's 1,000 different avenues we could go down with this guy because we need a new phrase for the worst because the worst is done. It's like saying from hell or that guy's like Hitler. It doesn't mean anything anymore. We've thrown it around too much. Maybe instead of the worst, that guy's Chet Hanx. Maybe the worst is Chet Hanx.
That's fair.
Because like everything he says and does is like the worst take.
Yes.
Like, you have America's father, and you said you didn't have a strong male role model.
Oh, it makes me so angry, Garrett. Just thinking about it fills me with rage.
Yeah, I would not have any of the compassion I have or empathy that I have today if not for Thomas Hanks. He was the counterbalance to the rugged lifestyle that I grew up in.
Oh, absolutely. In many ways, he was your father.
Yeah, at least in a more traditional sense.
Sure.
That is to say, Tom Hanks, we love you. Chet Hanks, not so much. Let's get into this song before we say another word. Gino, cue it up. Play the tape. Here it is, folks. White Boy's Summer.
Bad gal, white dandada. Rude boy, it's a white boy summer. Bad gal.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a song. Now, here's the controversial statement. I have heard worse SoundCloud rapists out there.
Oh, okay. You know what? That's fair.
Musically and vocally, there's plenty of SoundCloud rapists that are just as bad. Now, I also hated them, so it doesn't really get him off the hook, but this isn't the worst we've heard.
Absolutely not. That's a really good point. Modern rap, the kids today, and, SoundCloud rap is a decent way to put it. That style is just a mumbling nonsense. At least the production on this is pretty good.
Beats are fat.
Sure the beats remain fat. I'm sure he can afford very talented producers and sound engineers, so that doesn't shock me. That might actually be where I want to start. So yes, Tim, we'll begin very positively and say we've heard much worse. If anything, this lacks enough meat on the bone to be anything. It's largely disposable.
Sure, absolutely. It's his attempt, those very specific, meaningless songs where you're throwing in references that are dated by the time it comes out. And it's not really about anything. It's about how you like to bang, maybe, or you like money, or, you have a watch of some sort, some variety. It's that, but it's an attempt to do that. Because here's the thing, he's Tom Hanks' goddamn son. He could be in some sort of Scrooge McDuck money pit.
Yeah, he really could.
But
Good God.
At the very least, those guys are bragging about being rich and having chains and etc.
Such.
Because they were very poor very recently and they just got a bunch of money and they spent it on something stupid. This guy doesn't even have that.
No, he grew up very wealthy, only the best, and largely squandered it to the point where his parents repeatedly cast him out of his own home and said, hey, somebody else deal with this.
Go to the woods.
Chester, go to the woods. Let's be really clear, folks. His name is Chester Hanks with a K.
His name, Garrett, is Chester Marlon Hussein Hanks.
Some of those names may have been altered. I am curious if Tom Hanks named him after Marlon Wayans.
Well, that might be part of the problem, Garrett. He's all confused.
Anyway, let's see here. What else do we need to say before we get into these lyrics? You know what? Let's talk about the cover. Did you look at the single cover?
The Jamaican flags?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's a screen grab, or 3 different screen grabs from the video. It's odd that he chose 3 very similar images and just kind of stuck them on there.
Yeah, it looks like garbage. He took 3 screen grabs from the music video and layered them so that they're kind of all over each other. They're all the same. It's just him with the Jamaican flag, like he's Usain Bolt.
Did you say Usain Bolt?
Yeah.
Usain?
What's his name?
It's not Hussein.
Usain Bolt.
Yeah.
I had an H. Usain Bolt. Like he just finished the 100 meters.
I think it's pronounced Usain.
Okay. He's saying, she's saying, we're all saying. The point is, the man is draping a flag across his body in the middle of Runyon Canyon like he's doing something. Buddy, you're Tom Hanks' son. Go be in an indie drama somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, this guy, again, there's another perfect role model for him. His other brother, right?
Yeah.
That guy's doing it. He knows what he's doing.
Listen, I'm going to be real honest here. Colin Hanks didn't have it easy. Look at that man. He does not have a leading man face, and that guy works. He has a career.
He does not have a chin.
Yeah, it's tragic. But he made the best of it. Chet Hanks, Chester, you've got an adult man body. You've got a face that doesn't want to just be shouted at and punched a bunch. Well, I do want to punch it.
Yes, you do, and you're right to. Do you think Colin Hanks can grow a good beard?
If so, I don't know what he's been doing these last 10 years. But you and I both know a man that would greatly benefit from a full beard, and yet he doesn't do it.
Talking about,
Yeah.
the previously mentioned guy.
Yeah, that kind of removes the
ATX
anonymity
guy.
of it all, but sure.
Well, bleep his name, I'm sure.
I doubt it. Good stuff. All right, let's get into this garbage. We've given this man way more attention than he deserves. As Tim said, the beat is fine. It's
fat.
Yeah, it's very reminiscent of like a late 90s or even mid 90s rap style. It's almost that like R&B hip hop, which is fine. And there's an intro, because there has to be. He says, yeah, I swear to God, man, as soon as you get a bag, these bitches want to take it from you. Fuck it, yeah. Fuck it, turn it up. The beat in my headphones. Just a little bit. Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah. Fuck it. White boy summer. Hell, I'm really rich.
You know what? I think that says it. Exasperated sigh.
It's really not going to get much more coherent than that, folks. Apologies in advance. But let's try to sum it up, and I do have a legitimate question from the intro. Listeners, write in heypodmail@gmail.com. Do you have personal experience, or are you a person who doesn't really have a job or no real means of earning money other than dating/marrying people that have money and spending their money? Because I'm legitimately curious, as soon as you get a bag, these bitches want to take it from you. Where's he hanging out? Or Tim, is this really a thing? Is it one of those things where, like, because you and I aren't hanging out in the same place Chester is, I hope, like, we're not running into these trifling thoughts, to use the parlance of our time, or possibly last year's parlance, these kids today?
Well, I mean, listen, I live mostly on you.
Sure, but it's a very different situation. I've kind of ruined your life.
Yeah.
I feel like at least 10% responsible for that. And I mean, you eat like
So
a
really,
child,
you
so that's
owe
not
me.
expensive. No, you're an adult. You make your own choices, but I definitely put forth the wrong choices and you made them. So yeah, we both are going to lie in this proverbial couch bed. Anyway, back to the song. Listeners, do write in. I am curious. Are there people out there, men or women, don't care, who are actively trying to just take advantage of you so that they can slowly bleed you dry like a financial vampire? I've heard about it, haven't had that much experience, want to hear your stories. heypodmail@gmail.com.
I mean, I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Again, you are a different situation.
Okay.
Because, listen, man, you got to make it clear. We have been getting some real sus emails lately, and I just want to be really clear. Tim and I are not in a sugar daddy situation. He uses the show's money, but he is part of the show.
Right.
That's where it starts and ends.
Yes.
I'm talking about, in the song, Tim, these bitches are fucking Chet.
Oh, yeah.
There
No,
it
I'm
is,
not.
yeah.
Okay, right.
Right. Barely friends. and again, you're a man. So kind of a non-starter for me.
Well,
Probably for
I've
you.
always thought that's a little bit close-minded, but we'll move past it. I met a bad little shawty on the pole to dance, get into the bag like it was her only chance. Rich bitch, known to run up them bands, said fuck it, then she went and made an OnlyFans. So, is the OnlyFans the insult here?
It might just be a story. It may not be an insult per se. It
Okay,
might just
so-
be a story about a shoddy that, and again, are we saying shoddy anymore? I don't think so.
Well, in 2021, we absolutely were, Garrett.
Oh, I don't think
Go
so.
back
I
and
think
listen to those 2021 episodes.
I'm not gonna. Yeah, so this is a woman that was working the pole. It was her only shot at getting money, and then somebody introduced her to the digital age, and now she's, God, Tim, we may need an OnlyFans. I keep reading
absolutely. I've been taking
people-
all these pictures of your feet. What are those going for?
I can't imagine.
Nobody is enjoying them, but they
Yeah.
could be.
I can't imagine anyone would enjoy my feet.
There's a lot of people in there that like disruption, destroyed feet.
Yeah, if you're out there and you want to pay top dollar for photos of absolutely annihilated feet, I will sell them to you.
They're hairy where they should not be, and they've
Now,
been rubbed smooth. They're a mess. Honestly, you could pay to see them as some sort of freak show situation. Or if you're into that. I'm not judging why you're getting the pictures as long as you're paying top dollar.
I was going to dispute you on that, but we basically got to the same end. Yeah, you know what? I don't really care. I keep reading about people that are making like 20, 30 grand a month. I don't know what they're doing on there.
Yeah, you don't want to do what they're doing.
For 30 grand a month, I might.
Interesting. All right.
solo work.
That's fine too, Garrett. Listen.
What is that? So that's not enough money. $50,000 a month.
Yeah,
Could
I'll
I
collect
live down?
That. Well, you're going to obviously be splitting this at least 50.
I will not be giving you any of my OnlyFans money. $50,000 a month, though. I think I could live down for that much.
Probably bleep all of that.
That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of bleeping.
Don't get all bleep happy, Tim.
You want to preserve the mystery.
What's your number?
You want people to kind of be able, like, they're going to OnlyFans and they're going to your page specifically, but you want them to have the deniability of why they're going there. They can pretend they're going there for extra content. If you just say what you're doing.
We're going to put the podcast on it.
Oh, okay.
That's going to be playing in the background.
Okay, so this is one of your we're watching this movie with the sound off kind of situations.
Well, no, okay. You come for the I guess. I don't know. I guess.
Definitely bleeping this.
I think we've really cleaned it up. We've worked around it pretty flawlessly, Tim. I think we're fine.
No, you have not.
Oh. Well, anyway, tune in for the and then, like, you're wrapping up and they're like, I assume it's exclusively women. They're wrapping up and they're like, oh, what's that funny, witty banter in the background while this dude's, like, looking soullessly into the camera.
It's not going to be a single lady, Garrett.
It sure isn't. Women, write in hatepodmail@gmail.com. How much pornography are you watching? Is it none or any? I think it's none. Oh, God. Song continues. Hot boy, white boy summer. Got your favorite Instagram bitch DMing her number. Hit the strip club. I'm like thunder. She let me beat it. I'm the white boy wonder. Pause. At this point, Tim, he seems to exclusively be finding his shotties at the strip club. Maybe that's why he thinks all women are just out to get that bag.
Absolutely. And more than that, he knows that they are one to take home to meet Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson.
Oh my God.
If at the club, she'll let him beat it. Well, presumably saying I'm the white boy wonder. Which, was Robin ever a black man?
Was Robin
Boy Wonder.
Oh, no, but okay. How's this for really weird coincidences? This is not a joke. Do you know who was cast to be Robin and then they ended up cutting him out completely, but they still paid him to do it?
Jaleel White.
Marlon Wayans.
Oh, interesting. He was, in which iteration?
I believe the second one, Batman Returns.
Oh, God, I was hoping you were going to say the Christopher Nolan movies.
I can't remember, and I'm sure we'll be corrected aggressively, but I want to say it was supposed to be the one, but it could also be the one with Val Kilmer and...
it was probably that one.
That makes more sense, and Tommy Lee Jones and whatever. That would make a little more sense, but either way, one, just the second mention of Marlon Wayans this decade, but two, the way the contract was negotiated, because they cut the role before filming even began, he was still paid full salary. Like he did that movie.
Interesting. Good for him.
Yeah. Apparently we need to be Hollywood actors, get paid for not showing up.
Ideally we are not acting.
Yeah, being paid to not act.
Yep. And then, Garrett, Chester Marlon Hussein Hanks begins singing in a Jamaican accent.
Which I'm sure you will be doing now.
I will not. I'll read it as it's written. Bad gal, white Don Dada, buck. Rude boy, it's a white boy summer, buck, buck. Bad gal, white Don Dada, buck. Rude boy, it's a white boy summer, buck, buck, buck.
At this point, what do you think Tom Hanks' reaction was as Chet played this for him?
I assume his head was in his hands. Like, Tom Hanks is a great actor. The man won 2 Oscars, back-to-back Oscars. He can't pretend. His head's in his hands.
Is he crying?
No, I don't think.
Is he sad? Is he disappointed?
I think he's shocked.
Yeah. Do you think there's a chance he's like, this is a joke, right?
Oh, sure. And again, we'll get to this a little bit later. I'm not 100% sure that it's not. Did you ever see Before the Devil Knows You're Dead?
Oh, yeah. Do you
remember
is that the heist movie?
Yeah, it's the Philip Seymour Hoffman, that kid
having
from
sex with Marissa Tomei.
Yeah, okay, you do remember. At the end of that movie, spoilers here, the dad...
You sure you want to do this? This movie's great, Tim.
Okay, well, we won't spoil it. How about this? I will say, for those of you that have seen it, What the dad does at the end of that movie is what T. Hanx really wanted to do at the end of the Jamaican session.
Oh, God. Tim, what made him do this?
Mental illness, Garrett. Or
even though
trying to impress his father, or the third thing. You know what? I'm just going to say the third thing. Garrett, I have a theory. This is my final thoughts. I'm going to skip right ahead to it. One thing we know about Colin Hanks is that, other than the acting and the, just chinlessness, is that he is an expert at artificial intelligence and deepfakes, allegedly. Now, I think it is possible that to forever secure his status as the favored Hanks son, he created and released this to slander his half-brother, Chester, because it's too on the nose as something that would make T. Hanks sad, right?
Yeah.
And Chester, of course, being an idiot, watched this, heard it, and thought, that looks pretty good, actually. Yeah. And listen, hey, he blacks out from time to time, allegedly. Who's to say he didn't create this when he lost time? So he just kind of owned it. This is, potentially, some sort of post hoc collabo between brothers, with one just taking credit for the other's work and one trying to blame the other for the work, all in an effort to make Tom Hanks hate Chester.
I love this theory, and it's almost watertight. But the one thing we can't confirm, because we do not have his phone number, is Colin Hanks capable of this level of technology?
He has the resources to find a guy if he's not.
That's true. Well, then, I mean, that kind of seals the deal. It's a shame we still have more to read, because I think you nailed it.
That's why I was going to save it for the end.
But you had to say it. It had to be said. Big con job. Wow. So here's the really sad part is I don't think this was necessary. From everything I've read about Chester Hanks growing up,
this was
terrible kid. Yeah, he overcorrected. He went too far.
Yeah,
Ugh.
But it's funny.
All right, let's get through this thing. Oh, he continues with more dated terminology. Got some Tatianas all out by the cabana, rolling marijuana, and they all from Guyana. Yeah, Russian girl named Svetlana. Another from the islands. Yeah, she looks just like Rihanna. Why Guyana?
I assume it's a Jim Jones reference. Or maybe it's weird that that's the only thing I know about Guyana. I don't know.
Yeah, that is interesting. Guyana, you say?
Yes, that's how
I've
I say
only
it.
ever heard Guyana.
Yeah, well, I don't follow trends, Garrett.
I don't follow traditional pronunciations of words.
I can barely read.
So we get a reference to a Blueface song with the Tatianas out by the cabana. Rolling marijuana and they all from Guy. Here's an interesting question. Is the mention of marijuana in music, especially rap music for that matter, I want to say it's become far less prevalent, or at least featured, only because it's legal in 30 states now.
Yeah, it's a lot less cool. I mean, it's smoking
no taboo
cigarettes.
anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, there's probably far more taboo with smoking cigarettes.
Yeah, I was about to say, listeners, write in, hatepodmail@gmail.com. Maybe it's a generational thing or just an age thing. Are people still smoking? Because when I see somebody smoking, it straight shocks me.
Yeah, it is surprising.
I was in Canada a little while ago, and I was at a function, and sure as shit, there was a smoking section outside, and people were in it.
The Atlanta airport still has that weird indoor smoking thing.
Oh, God, do they?
Yeah.
Oh, that's super weird. I was in, God, where was it? It must have been London. I thought it was somewhere weirder. Anyway, whatever terminal I was in, they had a smoking, it looked like a bus stop, but it was it was the exact shape and size of a bus stop, but just plexiglassed in a terminal. And so sitting next to you was a dude just smoking a cigarette in a completely clear box, but it looked like a zoo. It looked like a people zoo. And just on the right, you will see the smokers.
I like
Notice
that.
some of them cannot stand. It was really, really weird. But I was just God, it's almost just they're it looked like a no smoking campaign, but it was real.
Yeah.
There we go. All right, let's finish this piece of shit. Yeah, white girls love Madonna. Girls want to have fun. You can do it if you wanna. Shout out to my LA chicks on some LA shit eating sushi at Katana. On the Sunset Strip, you know the boy got nice, 'cause I'm the one with the drip, West Side won't slip. When I come through, bullseye won't miss, always hitting my target, made her strip off rip. I don't do chases, I just want to hit.
See, this is a little bit of privilege here, right?
It's a lot of bit of privilege.
Well, yeah, sure,
I mean,
absolutely. But like the end of that, like, listen, you chase me. I'm Chet Hanx, for God's sakes. No.
I read it so much more cynically. Just like, listen, I'm not gonna, like, I think Chase is doing a lot of heavy lifting. I think he is saying, yeah, we're not going on a bunch of dates and having conversations where I get to know you and then I like win over your affection through my words, actions, sentiments, and beliefs. I just want to fuck that ass.
Right,
so,
because he's Chet Hanx. Like, you should want it.
Well, sure. Yeah, because I'm Chet Hanx, that should come as no surprise. He's bragging about his drip, his clothing, his gear, his look. You did not buy any of that.
Sure.
Like, at least a SoundCloud rapist, to your point earlier, in many cases, don't want to get too stereotypical, but in a lot of the cases, those artists have come from poverty or come from very little means. Those rappers have come from nothing or come from very meager means. So at least it makes sense and at least you understand why they're bragging about it. Chet, like, you were raised in one of the most expensive neighborhoods in the world.
Right. This is essentially him, like, it would be as if you made, I don't know, $100,000 a year and you were bragging about
your Camry.
Right, exactly. Yeah, something you had in like high school or, you know, like things you were buying like from your high school job or something. It's just, what? This is worse. You could have been doing so much better.
Yeah, honestly, that dude should have like 3 companies, like successful ones, not merch stores.
He should have been on Fargo.
You know, that's the interesting question. I didn't do any of the research because of the time investment, but I am curious, has anybody seen Chet Hanx act? I assume he's pretty good at it.
You said you had. Shameless.
I knew he was on Shameless. I don't think I saw him.
Okay.
I meant I saw him on Shameless, but sorry. Yeah, that's very misleading.
Fair enough.
Anyway, I wanted to look cool. Anyway, go ahead.
I got blue faces in my money clip. Best believe, and that shit's all from TV. I ain't even a Crip, but they want to see CHET. Yeah, bitch, that's me. Put respect on my name next time you see me. 2 things.
Yeah.
1,
Yeah.
spelling. That can go fuck itself. Spelling your own name might be a new low. Well,
Yeah.
the D, the E, the F, the I, the A, the N, the C, the E, mind of a revolutionary is pretty stupid too. Also, put some respect on the name Chet. Or, let me rephrase, put some respect on the name Chester. That is incredibly difficult.
Yeah, I think I'd have more respect for him if he'd have gone by Chester.
Yeah.
Like, kind of lean into it like Little Dicky. Just like, I really shouldn't be here and I'm not that good, but I'm Chester Hanx and I'm in the hood. Like, I don't know. Like,
I like this song.
Yeah, lean into the fact that you're affluent, white as fuck, grew up next to O.J. Simpson. These are all very interesting facts to rap about. We don't care that you have nice clothes. Like, again, your father
Now, I'm sorry,
has been
you keep saying O.J. Simpson. Are you implying some sort of connection between the Hanx family and O.J.? Or possibly his crimes? Okay.
Of course not.
Do you suspect, instead of a connection, do you suspect that secretly it was T. Hanx that committed those murders in 1994?
Obviously not, but I
high from the second Oscar win.
I have to take a life.
It's the only. It's after this high. There's only one thing I can do.
I have one more mountain to climb.
Right.
No. Now I will say this. I do not know where Rita Wilson was that night.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Probably fraught over this troubled child, although he would have been like 2.
Yeah, 4, I believe. But I could see her slashing. I'm just going to say that. And I mean that in a good way. I don't think she did it, but I could imagine that she would
write that book, Rita Wilson.
Ooh.
If I did it.
It's so hard to get the italicized I leaning over far enough to get that emphasis
to really
there,
convey that it's Rita Wilson's take on the O.J. Simpson murders.
Yeah.
Do you think people will know what it's about? How could they not? Oh, God. All right. Let's see. What else? He is implying that the Crips might have been trying to recruit him.
Maybe?
They want to see. Or maybe they want to join his gang.
Oh, interesting.
Again, I want to go back to something you said earlier because it is eating at me. How many different people have met Tom Hanks courtesy of Chester Hanx that just, like, if you were going to go meet Tom Hanks and you knew beforehand, I'd have a tuxedo on.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. No, that's a very good point. We'll get to this in the music video because I wrote this down a bunch, but like how many of the women in the music video met Tom Hanks after this?
Right. Or before. It was clearly filmed partially at their house. So many, I don't want to be rude here, loose women have met my hero. There's not a lot of people, and Tim and I have met a fair share of what you might call famous people. And by and large,
sure, a lot of them seemed very scared.
Yeah, well, that's a different thing. Anyway, by and large, not a big deal. There's a few people, though, and Tom Hanks might be number one. If I met Tom Hanks, I would likely turn into a babbling idiot. What do you say? Thank you for my life?
I think you smell his neck.
Oh, you're going to get tased.
Well, listen, I know Rita Wilson is hot on that taser trigger, but
she might slash you, buddy. That's
true.
How you get cut to the core.
Interesting.
We love you, Rita Wilson. We don't think that you murdered.
No, but I do believe that you are capable of protecting your own. Also, simultaneously, I do believe that if I was murdering Chet Hanks in front of you, you would not intervene.
She'd have to go check on those cookies. But I'll be right back. At this level of fame, I'm just working my way up this motherfucking ladder, bitch. It's all in a day. Yeah. 40 racks off merch. Doubt it. First date, bitch. You might go berserk. Yeah, I might make her squirt. Yeah, let me see you make it twerk. Again, I think at this point is when Tom Hanks was just like, can we turn it off?
It makes so much more sense, though, if this was Colin Hanks being like, let's work the word squirt in there.
Yeah, I really want to make this like as repulsive as possible for my father.
But okay, so here's the thing. He's like, okay, I want you to make a song for my father. Here's the lyrics that I've written out for you. And this guy, why are you doing this? Hey, don't worry, I'm framing my brother. Oh, yeah, all right.
I'm framing my brother. Just want everyone to know I'm the best Hanks.
Well, he's never going to be the best Hanks, but he can solidify spot number 2 pretty easily.
Yeah, that's true. Well, sure, best Hanks boy. I don't know anything about their daughter.
No one does.
But I do want to say whiteboysummermerch.shop or .com. I want to say it's .shop.
Yeah, but when I clicked on the link, it took me to one of those like this website or this hyperlink.
Would you like to buy this?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, maybe he switched it then to .com because originally it was .shop, but I believe I went to whiteboysummermerch.com yesterday. It was all there.
Maybe Google it instead of typing in the specific URL.
Yeah, either way, folks, buy it.
For Garrett. Let's see, and then burn his clothes.
Don't do that. We're almost done. Here's where things get really weird. It's the outro ?
Yeah.
He says, yeah, we got it, boys. Just got to get the outro. Boom. We got it. Actually, fuck it. We got it. Yeah. White boy summer, yeah. 16. Sucker ducking and dummy dodging all day. You know what I'm saying? Which I'd like to say 100%. I don't.
I disagree. I really like the phrase sucker ducking and dummy dodging. I mean, in all honesty, that's how I spend my day avoiding these goddamn interns and Gino. I'm sucker ducking
and dummy dodging?
Yeah, I'm sucker ducking and dummy dodging all day.
Sounds like you're a 1930s bookie.
Yeah.
Trying to collect.
Well, trying to
sucker
avoid.
Sucker ducking and dummy dodging, see? Let's see.
Again.
It's fine. Anyway, then we get to some really cryptic words that I had to do a bit of research on. He says, real 16, that's on P, I'm out.
Did not bother.
I was more curious about the real 16 because that's on P for a while. Instagram was just full of people talking about what was and was not P. And that was all courtesy of a Gunna song about Pushin' P from 2022. So I'm going to guess that was it.
I don't know any of the words you're saying.
I understand that. This isn't for you. But the funny part is that people transmuted that into just referencing 16, since P, I think, is the 16th letter in the alphabet.
Oh, well, that's
Culture's
stupid.
Fucking weird, man. All right, That brings us to the music video, Tim, and I gotta say, as disappointed as I was with the song, the music video is somehow worse.
Yeah, it's like he made a perfect visual representation of how bad this song was and committed it to video. Or possibly Colin Hanks knows a guy
Wore a very convincing Mission Impossible style Chester Hanx mask.
Oh, God, that means that a bunch of Bangladeshi children were ground up for that.
Is that how that worked? Oh, right. I forgot. That is in the IUCU. Okay, we open with Chester drinking a 40 in a Cadillac like he's never done.
Yeah. Then a shoddy comes over to him.
Right. Shoddy comes over. He's pretty pumped. She's like, hey, are you Tom Hanks' son? And he's like, abso-fucking-lutely. Because why wouldn't you? Then we're suddenly playing football on the beach.
Do you think he's ever said, if you sleep with me, I'll let you sleep with Tom Hanks?
No. It's definitely been, if you sleep with me, I'll let you meet my dad.
Okay.
And then he does not.
Because he doesn't have access to him?
Yeah, he's got to make an appointment like everybody else.
Fair enough.
Then we're playing football on the beach with these bikini-clad loose women, as Tim likes to say. They're twerking, they're wrestling, they're jumping about. It's,
and he
fine.
sprays their bottoms with sunscreen like a gentleman.
Yeah, that's good. Don't want to get a burn there. Mostly just sitting on a car or crouching next to a woman as she twerks.
He does like to bounce his head off of asses, which is something I don't think I've ever seen before. He just likes to bounce it off.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad time. These are some fat asses.
Well, sure, but I guess I've just never seen that as a thing people do. Have you ever bounced your head off of an ass? I mean,
not on purpose.
Okay, there it is. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I mean,
we've
things
all
get rough
gotten
and
into
tumble.
scrapes.
Oh, say less. Okay. Let's see, more twerking. He puts his face on that ass. And then suddenly we're standing, I'm not sure where. I suspect it's somewhere in Runyon.
It's something Tom Hanks owns, wherever it is.
Probably, or at least has a beautiful view of. Wearing a Jamaican flag. And I want to say who gave him that.
Colin.
You just do with this whatever comes natural.
I assume that Colin, slowly introduced him to, Jamaican culture and just let that take.
And, he started doing the patois around the house, and Colin's just like, God, you're really good at that.
Yeah, he's an actor.
You're really good at that, Chet.
Oh,
you should totally do that in public. A lot. In front of cameras, even.
Yeah.
Now we're suddenly at his parents' pool. He's pouring champagne in it, which is not what they agreed on. Then we're mostly cutting between the pool, the street/car where he's dancing about, and their impromptu football game with the bikini-clad women. At some point, he smashes his 40 on the ground. I'm not sure what made him so angry.
I noted that as well. That's a little shitty.
Yeah, it also made me wonder, does he have a permit to be filming there?
No.
No, because there were several people in the background walking by going, is that like a street Tom Hanks?
No, he definitely, any police that approached, he definitely showed them his ID and was like, Tom Hanks is going to be in this music video, but at the end.
Oh, every policeman that comes up, he just calls his dad and he's like, hey, do you want to meet Tom Hanks? Hey, Dad, I got a friend of mine, Officer Bennett. Hi, please don't arrest my son.
I would say please do arrest him and send him to the woods.
Let's see. That pretty much does it, though, right? Did we leave anything out?
Yeah, he sprays some more sunscreen. There's a plug for his website.
Yep.
That's about it.
Yeah, it's a real whimper. No bang. Tim, how did this do?
No idea. The Dutch uniformly hate this, though. After hearing this a single time, Jens, the lead Dutchman? I don't know. Anyway, he pulled out a hunting knife that I was unaware the captive Dutch were allowed to have. He cut his own palm and swore a blood feud with Chet, claiming that he will kill Chet or die in the attempt. I don't know what he meant by that.
Fascinating. Also, your Dutch is getting fantastic. Still all bells and whistles to me. What about reviews? What do people think of it?
Well, Garrett, there's exactly one Amazon rating. It is 5 stars and does not include a review. That was Chet Hanks, obviously.
Obviously.
There are some YouTube comments, some of which even were not sarcastic.
I doubt that. You probably just misread it.
Maybe. The first one, Father Hanks should be proud, very proud that all his children are talented. I thought it was sarcastic at this point. He goes on, regardless of the BS media outlets say, blessings, Chet. That is Nicholas Gouves 4621. I don't think that's sarcastic.
There's no smear campaign. The only possible smear campaign is by Colin Hanks. He seems to imply that the media is out to get Chester. The media doesn't give a shit about Chester.
We'll see.
We barely give a shit.
Yeah, that's fair. Pilou said, this man is destroying woke culture. He is a modern hero. I don't think that's sarcastic either.
I don't either. What a weird bedfellow.
Christo1988 said, thanks to the Daily Caller for informing me of this gem of a song. YouTube tried to hide this song. I had to look at Chet's playlist to find it. It wasn't on the search screen. The Daily Caller is, of course, the right-wing opinion website founded by Tucker Carlson.
So Tucker Carlson is super into Chet Hanx.
Well, it's White Boy Summer. I think he just read the title.
I see.
Yeah.
Just made some assumptions, given the font.
Yes. This is by Expired Sausage. Sorry.
It's a pretty good name.
This song makes me think of my dad. We are both very quiet people. Growing up, I remember him playing songs by LMFAO to help ease me to sleep as a weird insomnia-ridden kid. A week or so after...
Good night, Kevin.
Sorry. Good night.
Put on Party Rockin' to go to sleep.
Good night, Expired Sausage. I do believe that is his Christian name. A week or so after I discovered this song and subsequently became obsessed with it, I walked past his room in which he was programming to hear those familiar chords creeping from underneath the door as he was listening to it out loud. I remember going inside and talking to him about the song, how I had just listened to it recently, and how wonderful it is. It's moments like these that I owe to Chet Hanx's music. I love my dad.
I sleep in a bed with my father now, and we listen to some Chet Hanx White Boy Summer every night, followed by 3 tracks of LMFAO. What? What are people doing out there? I just love the idea. I mean, putting on party rock, just like, all right, good night, Expired Sausage Jr. Good night, Dan. And then that song is... I didn't love LMFAO, but I will say this. They get you moving.
They do. They do. I actually had a hip injury from that week. I don't know if I mentioned that, but it's been plaguing me to this day. Siegel 2297 said, I know a lot of people think this is kind of cringe, but the video quality and color correction is on point. The shots in front of the black car, 100% fire.
I think that guy's just like a technical nerd.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's okay. I'm going to give him a pass. Way to find a silver lining on a turd.
Fair enough. Find Purpose 6300 said, I think Mr. Chet did well in this song. As I'm a woman, I found the butts and twerking untasteful, but him spraying the butts with perfume, I assume, was funny. Crying face laughing emoji. You're doing great, Chet. According to Google, you have $4 million net worth. You done something right. Don't care about people who make fun of you. You are unique and amazing to watch. Peace sign. God bless you. Stars.
I assume it was funny. Still waiting to hear back on whether it was. I don't think that was perfume, madam. And Googling net worth. Fascinating.
Well, it's to find out whether or not you should like this. If somebody is rich, obviously this is good.
Yeah, like they're not sure of what's funny. Still waiting. I gotta wait for my husband to come home to let me know if it was. And then I just gotta get a second opinion. Is this funny? Although I have definitely shown you things, vice versa. We have shown each other things 100 times and been like, is this funny?
It's never been something that we've found, though. It's always been like I've written a bit and say, Garrett, is this funny?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's
and
a very...
often you say, it is, but it's also quite racist.
Yeah, we can't say that.
Yes.
We can't say that, but
One
it's
more
funny.
Review, Garrett. J Madness LOL is the name. He says, I have to admit, for someone who mainly listens to metal, this is a banger. And I think the reason people hate this is because they can't stand the fact he likes black girls, or the fact that white guys aren't allowed to like any other race without being shit on. I don't blame him. I went black and I ain't going back. Don't like it? Tough tits. I like a chocolate cookie with my milk and I ain't changing my mind. Smiley face. Is it racist?
Oh, that's an interesting question. A little.
Okay.
That person who is more than likely in an interracial relationship.
I disagree.
Is a little...
I don't think he is.
Good point. That person who would like to be in an interracial relation, who has recently changed his search criteria for pornography, is a little bit racist.
Fair enough.
Great reviews, Tim. Who's this for?
This is for guys that like to party. This is for racists. This is for racists that like to party. And this, Garrett, is for video editors.
And it was meant for his dad.
It was meant for his dad. Well, it was...
either for approval or to frame a brother.
Yes.
Oh, well, I know one of those was successful and the other was not. That brings us to final thoughts. Is there anything need be said? We've been all the way through it.
No. I have a series of paragraphs written about Colin Hanks and the scheme, but I already did that.
Yeah, you've laid that bare. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'll just say, given the access and means that Chester has, you and I could write as good or better of a rap song.
Yes, and we have. It's country rap, but...
Yeah, it's a little bit different. There's a lot more pedal steel. All right, Tim, well, let's ask the big question. I don't think there's any big mysteries to solve. After we've been all the way through it, do you hate this song?
I do, Garrett. I do hate this song. What about you? Did you reverse get there? Did the twerking undo some of that hate?
No. I still hate it quite a bit.
But you hate twerking.
No, I hate... You know what I hate, Tim? I hate sloppy twerking.
Oh, okay. So you need precision. You like a 1941 German twerk.
Yes, not.
You like that conceptually. It doesn't have to be a 1941 German woman.
Obviously.
Right.
No, what I was going to say is yes, I want that level of precision, but I also need there to be spirit. You know?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it can't be mechanical. I need to feel something as those cheeks clap.
We're talking about a boner.
Yes.
Okay.
Good stuff. Okay, Timmy, that brings us to listener mail. Would you like to go first, or would you like me to?
This week, Garrett, I think you've earned the right to go first. A rare Garrett. Yeah.
I notice you're really working around the W word. A win.
I can't. I don't know that you won because I was already there.
Is that part of the criteria? I have worked very hard to try to figure out how one wins any of these segments.
Did you read Calvin and Hobbes as a child?
Of course not.
Oh. Excellent. It's Calvin Ball. That means nothing to you. I assume our audience will understand.
God, yet another thing I was robbed of in childhood.
Oh, yeah, you really were. In fact, I would honestly recommend going back, and I will buy those for you if you read them. They're great. Anyway, you go first, is my point.
All right. My listener email is from all the way back in July by somebody going by the name Ellie. Ellie writes, "Hi, Tim and Garrett. Love the show, but sincerely hate to tell you that you have not reached this year's quota of awful white guy reggae."
Interesting.
Yeah. We sort of hit it today.
Carry on.
It would be a challenge for either of you not to hate the song Rude by a band called Magic with an exclamation point. Yes, the exclamation point is part of their name to carry on the theme of last week. Do not remember July. Don't know what she's talking about.
I assume it was Repo, the genetic opera.
Oh, maybe.
No, it was July.
I don't remember when that was. There are several articles decrying this as one of the worst songs. One article in particular says, quote, "I can only explain Rude like this. It's the oral equivalent of a man listening to reggae for the first time in his race car bed, slowly fucking the hole in a Kids Bop CD." Good.
I'm sorry, what?
God. Nope. End quote. I'll read it again, though I shouldn't. Quote, "It's the oral equivalent of a man listening to reggae for the first time in his race car bed, slowly fucking the hole in a Kids Bop CD." End quote.
So somebody, that's a quote that somebody said, is what you're telling me.
Yes. Yes.
It sounds like a positively reviewed Chris Scala album.
Yeah, that sounds like a 4-star. Bobby C. Anyway, so email continues. "On CD Motel News, when I taught in Korea, the school had me stay at a cheap motel before I could move into my apartment. I was so jet-lagged that I was only befuddled why the light switch made the room be bathed in red and the bed was round. I remember flipping through the channels. Yeah, and ended up watching the StarCraft channel. Yes, there was a channel devoted entirely to competitive StarCraft. That seems terrible. Perhaps that is the second least sexy thing that has happened in that room."
I bet a lot of unsexy things happened, but they were
meant to be sexy.
It was perhaps
sexual.
Yes, there it is.
Yeah. Anyway, this thing's all over the map. Congrats on your 20th anniversary, especially celebrated during the prideful month of June. We are not a gay couple. Do people not know that? Straight
don't.
Man. Oh. I mean, listen, it doesn't matter.
You could do worse is what you were going to say, and that's okay.
It is not. It's the opposite of what I was going to say. Now we're going to spend time on this. The exact opposite of what I was going to say. 180. Anyway, congrats on your 20th anniversary. Your inspiring story tells cowboys and Tomby Rady fans the world round that they do not have to fight and can live in harmony. Okay, that's fair. That is the nature of our relationship. Tim, why didn't you tell the world you made another Stabbing Westward album? And why did you name one of the songs Control Z? All the best, Ellie.
That's my business.
Yeah, that is Tim's business. Tim, what email did you write?
Well, actually,
or possibly have written?
Actually, I got two, because I want to highlight the various interests of our very diverse audience and also insult you a little bit. The first one, Garrett, is from Franklin, who said, "Hello, Tim. Garrett, I want to address you separately. But Tim, good job. Keeping it intriguing yet sensual. I have discovered by turning down the volume really quickly when Garrett speaks and back, it makes the podcast about 34.594% better. Could be 100% if you find a way to make Garrett sound like you, because Garrett is not good. Hello, Garrett.
Wow.
Do better. Be like Tim. Album recommendation, Tiny Tim Chameleon. P.S. Tim, keep up the good work. P.P.S. Garrett, just do better. Please. For Tim. This is from Franklin.
You know what? I'm okay with that.
From Gaddafi Stan 1994. Hoops, I did it again. Came here to recommend a jumpin' little record to my good parasocial buds, sensational Garrett Harvey and Timbawamba Hoops Richardson. The album of the week is Lauryn Hill's Notorious and Nasty, not the album title, just my little nickname for it, MTV Unplugged outing from the early 2000s. This record contains very badly played music with Lauryn clearly not knowing how to handle herself on guitar. It also contains delightful stage patter that I'd really like to get into on your little POD cast. Lots of love from Gaddafi Stan 1994. Yes, please mention Gaddafi at some point. He is to me what Jack White is to you.
What?
This guy loves Muammar Gaddafi, I guess?
Well, two things on that. One, why? That's rhetorical. Please don't tell us. And two, it doesn't end great.
We do mention him from time to time.
Yeah, usually in reference to somebody being the rectum.
Jesus.
That's how he died, Tim. We
I
all
know.
have to deal with it. You can watch the video, folks. It's out there. I'm not going to say don't Google it.
I am. I'm going to
Shaved
say
bears are worse.
No, they're not. Well, they're a little worse, yeah. So
Yeah.
the
No,
skin.
you know what? Let's add it to the
skin.
list.
Yeah.
Don't Google Gaddafi being in the rectum. Probably.
Track number 2.
Franklin, you're on the list. Nah, I don't.
Gaddafi Stan, different list.
Different list. One not maintained by this show. Alrighty, that brings us to music news of the weird. Tim, you want to go or you want me to?
Well, I think I've earned the right now.
Don't understand that.
Music news of the weird.
Garrett, in fake news, Snop Dogg, sponsor of Snop Dogg's Snopple branded fun facts and all other fun facts read on this show, including the ones read by Garrett, has allegedly given up marijuana. He posted to Instagram where he has 82.9 million followers, which I hate to say it is more than we have. Get on it, Hades. But he posted, after much consideration and conversation with my family, I've decided to give up the smoke. Please respect my privacy at this time. Which is an objectively funny way to end the statement.
Absolutely.
Snop Dogg, if you have extra money, he claimed once that he smoked 81 blunts a day. So if you were to give up marijuana, perhaps throw a little more money that way, maybe sponsor a different segment. Here's the thing though, none of that was true. This was just a dumb marketing ploy because of course it was. Lots of news outlets did not seem to do any
Pick
homework.
up on the joke.
Yeah. Smoke. I've decided to give up the smoke. Seems very vague. Whatever.
Purposely vague even.
Yeah. It would have made sense if this was like a vape or edible marketing thing. Wasn't that either. Snoop put another video on Instagram saying, I have an announcement. I'm giving up smoke. I know what you're thinking. Snoop, smoke is kind of your whole thing, but I'm done with it. Done with the coughing and my clothes smelling all sticky. I don't know what that means. Sticky icky, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm going smokeless. And then the camera pans to his latest goddamn product, the Solo Stove. They fixed fire. They take out all the smoke. It's very clever. This is a smokeless fire pit, which we should definitely get, Garrett, irrespective of the Snop Dogg connection, but it gets really cold in this apartment. Last winter was fucking freezing. There's a giant hole in the wall. We should get fire pits, is my point with this story.
I just don't believe that it's that smokeless. I think it's a lot less smoke.
Oh, sure. There's
but
going to be
not
a
indoor
fair
smokeless.
amount of carbon monoxide in this apartment.
Smoke. You could just say there's going to be a lot of smoke in the apartment.
Well, then, okay, how about this? How about this? We take them at their word and then sue the shit out of them. Maybe we'll take it off mics.
Yeah, take it off mics. But Gino, start working up that lawsuit, bud.
We're going to lose.
Yeah, he's not moving.
Garrett, what initial news do you have?
Well, Tim, I'm going to begin with sad news today. Apparently, things don't always go perfectly for Taylor Swift news. Recently, at a string of concerts, or at least attempted concerts in Rio de Janeiro, the deaths of 2 people, muggings of several, and a dangerous heat wave leading legions of fans to swelter outdoors has made Taylor Swift's Brazilian fan base quite angry and disappointed. During the pop star's most recent stop on the Eras Tour, which concluded Monday night, one fan was stabbed to death on the beach, one went into cardiac arrest during the second song of the show, and several thousand people were forced after lining up for hours to enter the stadium, informed that the show was going to be canceled due to heat and that Saturday night concert was going to be moved to Monday night. Which, of course, no one can attend because Saturday and Monday are very different propositions. Also, like half of those people had traveled from other countries to come.
Yeah. None of this seems like her fault, though. In fact, I think it's sort of, listen, if you can say your songs are so good that it killed a guy with just like halfway through the second song, I think that's a feather in your cap.
Sure, but most people don't live by the same standards we do.
Sure,
the best.
Sure. How is the stabbing on the beach related?
It was just a fan who was there to see her.
Oh, maybe this fan was stabbed for tickets, in which case, second feather.
Anyway, when the thousands of fans were told that the concert had been canceled, postponed to a weeknight, there became a wave of angry people teetering on the edge of a riot. But luckily, a sea of pickpocketers began moving through the crowd, lifting wallets and various accessories as they saw fit.
Brazil is fucking great.
Yeah. The police were quick to send in a task force, which began with a police raid, breaking up the angry crowds, arresting pickpocketers, and when several people took refuge inside of a Burger King, they laid siege to said Burger King, arresting several Taylor Swift fans for no apparent reason other than being very scared and sad.
That's pretty great. So the pickpocket thing is interesting. Apparently, well, not apparently, this is a thing. So in countries, Brazil, El Salvador, etc., people will put their wallet somewhere that's not their back right pocket,
right,
to avoid pickpockets. And so pickpockets have this thing so that they don't have to try and figure out where you're carrying their wallet. They'll put up a sign that says "Beware of pickpockets," so that you'll subconsciously touch your wallet, and then they'll be like, now I know where it is. I'm just going to go steal that.
That's fucking clever as shit.
Yeah.
Tim, what other music news do you have?
Well, Garrett, in 19th century Thatcher news. I don't know if you heard about this.
It does not sound recent.
Oh, okay. The cover of the Led Zeppelin 4 Zozo album has long been a mystery. It features a man hunched over with a bunch of sticks on his back. No other context or history. No idea who this man is or who took the picture. Garrett, the mystery is over. Brian Edwards, a fellow at the University of the West, was looking at auction houses for old photos. He came across a black and white version of just that photo. He was able to trace it back. The man's name is Lot Long. He was a Victorian-era Thatcher from Wiltshire in southwest England. The photo was made by Ernest Howard Farmer. It was originally a black and white photo. He was a photographer teacher, and he used this photo to teach students how to colorize images, which is what the photo on the Led Zeppelin cover is. Pretty cool, Garrett. Bazinga.
I hate that you're saying that now. That is borderline interesting.
Oh, okay, come on.
That was a compliment. I guess it was a borderline compliment.
What a cunt. Just go tell your story, you fuck.
That's a terrible transition.
That was a terrible compliment.
In professional podcasting news.
Now there is a good insult.
Now, in what news? Rapper Andre 3000 has announced that he will be releasing his first solo album in almost 20 years. And good news, everyone, several of the tracks feature flute instrumentals.
Oh, that is good.
Yeah, who loves experimental jazz? Because that's what this is. You may recall that this very podcast broke the story that if you were out and about traveling these great American roads, you too might run into a curious-looking man playing a flute on the side of the road that looks an awful lot like Andre 3000 because it was. He has been just slowly moving into jazz flute. So that's a thing. I believe the first song is entitled, I Really Wanted to Write a Rap Song, but This Happened. And it is, of course, a flute instrumental.
I mean, that's pretty solid.
Yes.
So he has named all of these tracks basically what David Cross did on the Shut Up You Fucking Baby or the Pride.
I don't know. I just know about the first one.
Oh, they're all silly. Every last one of them
are they really?
is super long and nonsense.
Oh, it's very strange. So we have that to look forward to. Won't be seeing it here on the show. It'd be funny if it was somehow really good, but I don't know what that would be.
I think it very well could be. He's a talented guy.
If you're into that. Oh, he's very talented. I just can't imagine listening to solos.
It's not for me, but it's probably going to be competently done, I would imagine.
Listeners,
it'd be great if it wasn't. There's a guy, I know I've said this on the show, there's a guy that sits in our neighborhood and he plays the violin, the flute, and the saxophone in the trumpet once, doesn't know how to play any of them. He's just like making weird noises. And I suspect that he's some sort of wealthy performance artist. And it's like a Charlie and the Chocolate Factory thing. Like whoever gives him $1 for this is going to win his fortune. I refuse to carry cash is my point. I'm missing out on the fortune.
That's a terrible precedent.
Oh, sure.
I'd love to be Charlie Bucket. Anyway, we can't get into that conversation again. Tim, what other news do you have about Andre 3000?
In whales have really become a problem lately. Killer whales have taken to attacking, sometimes successfully, boats off the coast of Spain and Portugal, among other places. This truly may be the beginning of the end for humanity. But there's hope, Garrett. There is a 59,000-person Facebook group of sailors swapping ideas for how to deal with these fucking monsters. They range from violently wagging the helm of the boat to deploying sand, using fireworks, etc. But apparently, the whales hate European thrash metal, at least when played loud enough to physically rattle the hull of a boat, which is probably not the music, it's probably, again, violently wagging the helm about. But killer whales tend to leave after about 2 to 3 minutes of this garbage. Now, this article was sold to me as European thrash metal is the cure for whales, but I would argue that I would rather my boat be dismantled by killer whales that would then definitely consume my supple waterlogged body than to have to be a sailor on a ship constantly playing thrash metal at a fucking volume that rattles the goddamn hull of the boat. This is not a viable solution, is what I'm saying. Perhaps. Yeah. The Japanese have some ideas on what could be done with these whales.
Getting back to that, really wishing I could do an accent right now. Conversation.
Yes.
Because they do have some pretty creative whale ideas.
So, okay. Are you allowed to be racist against the Japanese in defense of whales? Like, which one of those
not
is
the way
more...
I was going to do it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, no, it's inappropriate. Even by my standards. But it's funny. God, it's funny.
Garrett, what K-Way news do you have this week?
Well, Tim, in related news. In a recent interview, multifaceted drummer and Slayer co-founder Dave Lombardo took a moment to look back at his accomplishments, answering several questions about the early days of Slayer. Now, the interview isn't that interesting. Don't go look it up. But there was one section I found particularly interesting. And that section was how Mr. Lombardo failed to understand when everyone was accusing Slayer of being a Nazi. Specifically after the release of Angel of Death, which opened Slayer's 1986 album and details the Auschwitz concentration camp human experiments of Nazi physician Josef Mengele.
Right. Our Christmas album this year.
Right. Lombardo says, quote, "People just seem to be getting it all wrong. And it didn't make any sense to me. It's a song. And nowhere did it give off the idea that fascism was cool. We shouldn't have to say it."
So, okay, we're not talking about fascism, though, right? It's not the political system. It's the thing you were specifically singing about, and not necessarily in negative terms.
Yeah, you could have had the whole song if you just added, like, the word fuck before it.
Yeah.
Like, you can't write a song about Josef Mengele. Yeah, fuck the Angel of Death. Without that fuck, it's Kind of sounds like you're celebrating it.
Right, because here's the thing. The Angel of Death, that's like specifically in heavy metal culture, that's a positive thing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's dark. It's not as dark as it's not as metal as a mosquito, of course, but still pretty metal.
Remains unclear what you mean by that. I mean, yeah, pound for pound, I guess they're taking out more lives over history, but it's just, they're not very metal. Now, if you get like a 3-foot mosquito, scientists, write in, heypodmail@gmail.com. Could you help me make a 3-foot mosquito and conversely a 3-foot elephant? I'd like both for very different reasons.
I'm a scientist.
No, you're a madman. With access to science.
That's fair.
Oh, I wish I'd never gotten you that lab. Anyway, let's see here. What other news do you have, Timmy?
Well, Garrett, in Jared Leto is just exhausting news. Jared Leto became the first person to legally climb to the top of the Empire State Building right here in the Big Apple. I assume this was to promote something, his band or a movie or something. Anyway, but only kind of. He started on the 86th floor. He climbed to the 104th floor, which is less than 20 floors if you're doing the math. This was apparently his childhood dream. He did it with a top rope, which, admittedly, it gave a single pretty cool picture from the inside of the building. But also, the story that I think is being left out here, because again, top rope, 20 floors, fuck that.
Yeah.
Somebody in City Hall, their day was approving this, right? He did this.
Coordinating the logistics.
Exactly. Yeah, he got a permit for this. So somebody's, that's an interesting day for a man.
Do you think they set out a cheese and fruit tray for that?
No. Did you watch Free Solo?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember the scene at the top whenever, and I don't want to spoil this, but he free solos.
Yeah, it's kind of in the title.
Right. When Mr. Alex, when he gets to the top of that, he kind of goofily puts his hat on and he just kind of I don't know. I assume he tried to make it as much like that as possible because, Garrett, the two things are pretty much equivalent.
Yeah, that's basically the same thing. Well,
Yeah.
I'm thinking, this is Jared Leto. He probably comes with an entourage. There's managers, there's agents, lawyers, safety crews, people. I'm surprised there wasn't a guy standing 4 feet next to him on a different top rope to make sure he does it all right.
Oh, there was somebody that was rappelling down right next to him.
Oh, okay, yeah. So that's so it's exactly what I'm picturing. Oh yeah, I'll bet you it's a full spread. They're putting out meats, cheeses, crackers, grapes, the whole McGillicuddy.
Probably
Schweppes.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure it's delicious. And it's not for him, it's for all the other people.
Well, no, he's got to watch that physique.
Oh yeah, he's 52 and he looks easily 39.
Yeah. But the good news, though, in all of this is, he has completed his childhood dream. This is probably the last we'll ever hear of him. He's probably just going to fade into the background. No more metaphorical mountains left to climb.
I wish I could believe that. There are few people in Hollywood that I bought so much and sold so much stock in a record amount of time. American Psycho, pretty good. Dallas Buyers Club, really good. Fight Club, perfect amount of Jared Leto. Gets the shit bitten out of him. Fantastic. 30 Seconds to Mars. Ugh. Modern 30 Seconds to Mars. Ugh. And every movie he's done since Dallas Buyers Club.
Yeah.
Has pretty much made him insufferable. That Joker, I went and I didn't rewatch the movie, but I rewatched a scene with him. What in the Foggy Mountain Breakdown was anyone on that set thinking?
I have no idea. Release the air cut or whatever.
I'm legitimately curious to see if it in any way redeems what was going on.
Oh, it's not
there.
happening.
They might release it.
No, I can't imagine. Not with the new guy in charge.
Oh, right. Yeah, probably not.
Yeah,
okay,
well,
anyway.
I will say, though, if he played some sort of Jim Jones figure, because that seems to be, right in his wheelhouse, I would watch a limited HBO miniseries of him just fucking his way through his followers and then making them kill themselves.
I don't know how it hasn't happened already. Doesn't he have,
I don't know how it hasn't
Leto
happened
Island?
in real life, yeah.
Yeah, dead serious. This all ends with a cult. He's got the long hair, the Messiah complex. People find him irresistible.
The climbing skills.
A lot of people know that. Jesus was a hell of a boulder. Might have invented it. He could have climbed down from that crucifix anytime. That's what made him so special. He stayed. Crazy hand
Blasphemy.
strength.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Anyway, Garrett, what other news do you have? Anything else?
I got a lot here, but I'm trying to decide what makes sense here.
We could talk about K-Way drawing swastikas on shoes.
Oh, God. That's pretty old news.
Yeah.
And terrible. Let's see. I'll go with... Oh, this is weird. This is supposed to be weird, so this is weird. Tim, do you know who Simu Liu is?
No.
Do you know who Shang-Chi is?
That's the Marvel guy, right?
Yes, that's Simu Liu.
Oh, the actor.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Marvel's Shang-Chi, a.k.a. Simu Liu, has dropped his debut EP, Anxious Avoidance.
So in.
Making him the second Avenger. Actually, I guess third, because Robert Downey Jr. has a number of albums as well. We now have Simu Liu, RDJ, and The Medicine, J-Ren, all making music. I went and I listened to it. It's basically male Jessica Simpson.
Interesting.
Well, less sex-oriented, but just like pop music. It's really weird. Yeah, it was kind of strange, but that struck me as particularly weird. Also, the music videos are odd. It's like in the rain with this large-breasted woman.
I mean, it sounds good.
Yeah, I guess that's fine. Yeah, but that caught my attention. Very, very strange. Anything else you want to say, Timmy?
No.
Great. That brings us to the part where we announce which album we're going to be listening to for an entire week straight. And this one, we got a doozy. So, Tim, tell us, what album will we be listening to for an entire week straight?
We will be listening to the album So Much for the Afterglow by either Everlast or Everclear. Unclear.
Remains to be seen. Wait, no, it's definitely Everclear. Don't do anything with Everlast. It's Tim. Tim, listen.
I'm just...
Eye to eye. Eye to eye.
Mm-hmm. Okay, you're touching my eye with your...
Yeah, because I need you to look at me. Everclear, not Everlast.
I'm going to listen to So Long for the Afterglow.
Yes.
The Whitey Ford story.
No, that's Everlast. That's Everlast. Whoa, this is going to be a problem. I can tell already. All right. But for this week, folks, thanks for listening. We appreciate it. Write in hatepodmail@gmail.com, or you can go to hatepod.com and click on Contact Us in the upper left-hand corner. That's another way to do it. You can find us on Instagram. That's hatepod. Twitter's album hatepod. Threads is hatepod. We've got Discord servers. We've got subreddits. All the ways you want to find a person on the internet, we can be found there. Still remain not on Pandora Premium.
But coming soon to your OnlyFans feed. Garrett's feet.
Oh, sure. I will 100% sell photos of my feet. Do you like hairless tops, but a little bit of hair on the toes? Or maybe just one of the toes?
Yeah, and also on the soles a little.
Yeah. Well, that's
okay. You know what? Let's bleep that out. That's for the subscriber to discover. That's a little treat for you.
Find the subscription. Good. Yeah. All right. That's going to do it. For Why I Hate This Album, I have been one of your hosts, Garrett Harvey.
I have been the other, Timothy P. Richardson. And on October 25th, 2015, Garrett P. Harvey said, "You can't put too much stock in the decision-making abilities of a raccoon."
Oh, right. Because you were going to base an entire plan on what you saw a raccoon do.
No, that's insulting to me now.
It's the truth. And I was like, Tim, think about this. It's vermin. Don't copy vermin.
Bazinga.
There's cowboys running through my dreams. Nothing's quite the way it seems. I joined the Navy, got kicked out in a week. My facial features aren't distinct. Try to find some meaning in these songs. The genius is a genius, got it wrong. No, it's a lobster murder sex thing. It's the bleaching of the rear. A full assault on both your ears. Riffs are too repetitive, the lyrics make no sense. All the songs are B-sides, the cover art's a mess. Listen to it for a week, now that week has passed. It's the Why I Hate This Album podcast with Tim and Gary.